Today is a good day here in Costa Rica. My name is Paola, and I'm excited to be with you in this Facebook Live. I got my miracle. It's sunny here in Costa Rica. We just changed the season. This happened this week, so you saw it.
I did.
It's so beautiful here, and it's a great day to interview this powerful man who has said yes to a week here at Rythmia. So, thank you for being with us today. He has a powerful testimony. He had many, many miracles. His name is Owen from Chicago, but lives in
Southern California.
Southern California. So, thank you so much for saying yes to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked someone, who would you recommend? I asked, and then it went straight to Owen and said he went so deep. And I went and asked Owen. He said, yes, I'll talk about it. So, Owen, can you take us through because this is not the first time you do ayahuasca, right?
Right.
So you had a previous time, and that wasn't so good for you.
Well, it was.
Okay.
But it didn't feel like it. I went to Peru. I did enough research to know that it's important to work with shamans that are close enough to the right lineage of where it can be as authentic as possible. And
Yes.
and I went to one of the top rated retreats in Peru, and when I got there, the shamans were definitely amazing, and I definitely felt different, and that I had been healed in certain ways, but I didn't quite understand it, and I didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to work with it or how to process and interpret the experiences I was having.
Mm-hmm.
And so it brought up my demons and the darkness I was feeling in my head, which, since I didn't understand it, just felt like demons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was stuck just in my head for 4 months.
Wow.
Suffering because
And
I didn't know
when
what to do.
this?
That was it was 4 months ago, so
Oh,
beginning of August.
okay. Mm-hmm.
And then I eventually found out about rythmia, and just heard that that the process and the program is orchestrated so perfectly, and I was either going to stay stuck where I was at, or I had to keep working through it.
Yes.
So decided there's no place to go but forward. So
Good. Oh, that takes so much courage, Owen.
yeah.
And so you said that you came here, and then the first night you received all the miracles. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
So just from one of the classes the first day, I was able to understand that the experience I had with the medicine was just a mirror into my subconscious,
Mm-hmm.
and that I hadn't been necessarily transported to hell, but I was shown the parts of my mind that felt like hell, that were torturing me. And I was able to make the connection between how the medicine was making me feel and where I was feeling that way in my life. And once I was able to understand that, I was able to realize that everything that's coming up is something that's in me that needs to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And so so the first night I was able to consciously let go of shame that I've been carrying around my whole life.
Yeah.
Which has negatively affected me in a lot of ways and held me back from being who I really am. And
Mm-hmm.
then I saw the demons again, but I opened my arms
Mm-hmm.
and embraced them and hugged them and loved them. And the scariness and the darkness just turned to light, and the scary faces I was seeing in my head became loving, smiling faces.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm a strong man,
Yeah.
and that my energy source is a light energy.
Yes.
And I just, it was the greatest awakening ever, and it saved my life, because my head had been a scary place to be in. I was trying everything I could to get out of my head.
Yes.
And like, good music wasn't helping, and nothing was helping, right?
Mm-hmm.
So finally I got out of that and realized I love myself, and that everything's fine, and that I can't control anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely can't control the medicine. So I need to surrender to that. And I learned deeper layers of surrender throughout the week. But after the first ceremony was over, I went back to my room and looked in the mirror. And for the first time ever that I can remember, I loved what I was seeing in the mirror.
Oh my God.
And I looked myself in the eye and smiled. And it was the most beautiful thing ever.
And that's amazing.
So that was the first one. But
wow. In class, we talked about how heaven and hell are states of consciousness, states of mind. So you went from hell to heaven.
Yeah.
And so, and I hear this, there was a shift where it was like, the demons are here, the darkness, I don't want to look at it.
Right.
Maybe that's someone doing bad juju on me.
Yeah.
And then being I am responsible for this. This is me. Let me love you. Let me embrace you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, I'm not even sure how I was able to do that. I can't even explain it other than how I just did. But
well, your open heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the medicine.
And the medicine. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you said before that was Monday, and then you were like, I'm done.
I was done. I was like, I'm so glad I got what I needed. Yeah. I'm, keep the change. I'm out. I'm never doing this again. And that's how I felt. I said, there's a big part of me that just didn't understand what exactly the medicine was and what I had done.
Yeah. And
I was thinking, okay, I had to pay a price to get this self-love.
Yes.
And I wasn't even sure if it came from God. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I had been through so much to get there, so I didn't want to go through any of that again. Yeah. So then the second night, I said, well, I'll just do a little bit tonight, to prove that I don't need any more. So I did a little bit less, and everyone was having a very difficult night on Tuesday. And so I was like, yes, this is exactly why I'm not going to do this again, because I don't want to experience the hard work of it. And even just sitting in the ceremony, I didn't want to do. So, but then the next day, I was telling people, yeah, I'm not going to do any more, but I'm so happy I got what I came for. And people were, people that had been through the full week here and people that work here were very gentle with me. And they said, okay, well, like, have you thought about this? Or have you thought about why you don't want to do it again? Like, is it fear? What is it? So I ended up having a breakdown in front of everybody, and just in one of our classes. And because I just had to get it out that I was afraid of doing it again.
Yes. And
so, because I was afraid of feeling suffering or feeling like I'm being punished or anything. I was like, I've just been suffering for 4 months. I don't want to do that anymore. Right. But they just said to, trust and at the very least, go to the ceremony, talk to the shaman, and tell them how I'm feeling. And I didn't have to drink any medicine. I talked to the shaman and just felt so much love, and I just felt so much safer. Yes. And I knew that if I needed help, I would have it. So I went for it, and it was an even more beautiful night.
Yeah.
And the music was amazing all night, and I was literally dancing around, like
So
just
good.
flowing. And I mean, I've never moved like that before.
Yes.
And
So there's also healing through joy.
oh yeah, absolutely. And before, because the ceremonies are so intense and the music gets so intense, and so another, like, in the same way I didn't want to do a ceremony again, I was afraid to even access. I wasn't sure if it was safe to access this energy frequency.
Yes.
Because of how intense it felt. But I was able to trust the medicine on that night and feel like, okay, this actually is safe for me to experience,
Yes.
even if it gets hard again down the road. And so it got me to a place where and the reason I still needed this, even after having miracles the first night, is because I need to be able to meditate and take deep breaths and quiet my mind and feel safe doing that with whatever comes, and feel that I'm held by God and by the universe, and that there's love there.
So
wow,
that in and of itself, like
yes.
You take that home and you practice that meditation and being with yourself, and it's safe to.
Yes.
That's already life changing.
Yes.
Amazing.
So then, the last ceremony, I wasn't as nervous. I was still nervous, but I wasn't
more courageous.
I was more courageous, yeah. And after the beginning, I felt like I was getting some good insights. I felt connected. I felt like I was at a good level. I was like dancing again, and I was like, oh, this is great. Like I don't need to take any more. And then at the very last opportunity to go for a second round, I decided to just go. So I went, but I said, just give me a quarter instead of a full one.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was like, you know what, I just want to stay at a good level for the rest of the ceremony. Like, and the shaman said, okay. And so I took it, and then like very quickly after that, I started really feeling it much stronger. And
that's the thing, like the medicine knows what you need, so
well,
even if you take a little bit,
because I was thinking, because it was really, I still had a fear of surrender, because I had been through some very difficult purging in Peru. Mm-hmm. And I had decided that I wasn't gonna throw up this week.
Okay.
And
how did that work?
it did not work out. But so yeah, it was very overwhelming, and I threw up, and that was not pleasant, obviously. But then it was amazing after that, and I had the most beautiful vision I've ever had.
Really?
And it was like, like the bracelets with the colorful designs. Yes. I literally saw that imagery and those patterns and shapes, and it was gentle, and it was, and I felt, and I was like, okay, I trust whatever this is that I'm seeing. Mm-hmm. is love, mm-hmm. and like reinforcing that. It was beautiful. And then just being outside looking up at the sky, I saw the biggest, longest shooting stars I've ever seen. And I had just this flood of clarity and insight on the medicine, on the ceremony, on the universe, and how I am connected with it.
Yes.
Hearing the jungle sounds and the animals, a lot of things clicked in my head. Mm-hmm. Where I was like, oh wow, there's so much to learn from nature. Yes. We're part of nature.
Yes.
And there's nothing we can do about that. Mm-hmm. So, but what I realized was we chose to have this human experience, knowing that it's the unknown. Mm-hmm. And that there's going to be really hard times. There's going to be beautiful times. And when we come into the world as babies, we're in surrender, and we can't control what happens with our bodies. We can't control what emotions come out or when they come out. We rely on someone else getting us through it and keeping us safe. And that's exactly what we're doing in the ceremony.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a beautiful comparison. I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
You become a baby again, and then the medicine is just relax. I'll heal you.
And so surrender is our divine nature. That's what I learned.
Yes.
Which was so beautiful. And so
that's why when we're controlling, we suffer so much.
Yeah. And we don't realize, we forget that we have the ability to do that, and that it's okay. So I realized that everyone that came here surrendered just by booking it and coming here.
Yeah.
So that's already proof that we can surrender by going and doing the whole program and going to each ceremony and following your intuition and trusting the shamans. Like, it's all just a reminder of what life is, and a reminder of how to surrender, and that when we do, we're rewarded beyond what we can even imagine. So yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
That's so good. Wow, Owen. Can see you almost as a teacher. There's a beautiful articulation in the way that you took us through every day. It's a very, very easy to learn, and I'm catching the vibration of your experience. So thank you for sharing this with us.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone? And I love your testimony because it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to rythmia, I'm gonna do medicine. You know, you were like, I'm scared. This is like, I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I love this coming from this perspective, because sometimes people don't, maybe they don't say it out loud, that, you know, and then from the outside, people will think, well, you're brave, you're courageous, that's what you do it. But I'm not. Yeah. So thank you for sharing vulnerably with us. So what would you say to someone in this moment? Say, I just don't think I can do this. Yeah.
So what I'll say is, someone who hasn't done it, and I don't say this to scare people, but you don't even know how hard it is. But you also don't know how strong you are and how capable you are of getting through it. And I went through 3 ceremonies and felt like and didn't get what I didn't fully go through the process, didn't get to the end. So I didn't even, when I came here, I had experienced how hard it was, and I wasn't even sure if there really was light at the end of the tunnel for me. And I actually had to rely, I read, like, every night I would read like TripAdvisor reviews to remind myself that, okay, these people did it. Yes. So I have to trust that if I go to this place, I can do it. So, I mean, there's a lot of, life is full of hard things, and we've all done hard things. And we're all capable of it. And one thing I realized the first night is, when I felt that strength, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been needing this my whole life. Yes. And there's been a lot of things that I've done to push myself, because I wanted this type of strength. So this is in our nature, like, we want to grow. So, yeah, I mean, I could have read every single review and every single ayahuasca story, and I read a lot of them, but ultimately it was up to me going through the experience, and it was worth it. So
I love that. Yeah, I love that you said we all go through hard things, and this is just one of them, but the reward is freedom. It's freedom and clarity, and yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I love your
Absolutely.
shirt. Relax. There's nothing under control. So thank you everyone for watching this today. If this was helpful for you, supportive for you, give it a thumbs up, comment below, share it with your friends. Maybe someone is hesitating about coming to Rythmia. Send them this video. And thank you for watching. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I would say book it right now, as soon as you can.
Yes.
If you're thinking about it, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Just got to do it.
Yep.
All right.